I'm Will, and welcome back to Will's Digitals, your home of everything Photoshop and composite art. Today I'm going to do what I'm calling a breakdown, and that's where we're going to take one of my composite pieces and break it down to show you how I ended up creating it. So this is a piece called Home Sweet Home, and it's the first piece that I ever entered into a juried exhibition, which means you submit your photo or your piece of art, and they look at it and decide which ones are the top X number, however many they're having in the exhibit. And this one actually got in. There were only 16 people. Works got in. It was with the National Association of Digital Artists. So I'm pretty proud of it. I think it's done well. But let's see how this thing got built. So you can see what it looks like here, but we're going to turn off all the, well, maybe we're going to turn off all the layers. There we go. Kind of. We missed a chimney there. Okay. I started off with this background, and I was just looking for something. I wanted it to kind of look like it was painted. This looked like a nice kind of a canvas look to me. So that's what I went with. And I started by adding the trees in. So here's a maple tree, and then here's a red maple tree. And these are just stock images of trees that I found. Then we bring in the camera. This is an old camera that's been in my family for a while, and I thought that was the one I had wanted to use. So here it is in all its glory. It's an old Pentax. We're going to apply a hue saturation layer, which, if we have a look at it here, is just attached to the camera, and we just basically take a little bit of the saturation out of it. Everything else is that, and it is kind of hard to tell the difference, but we brought it down like to there. Okay. Next, we're going to start building the window that was over here. And so this is the base of the window, and then we're going to add some curtains, as you can see. And we're going to apply a curves adjustment layer, and that is, we are really bringing them out brighter, as you can see, because they were awfully dark and they're sitting on the dark part of the camera, so I did brighten them up a bit. So now we're adding a window in around that. So now we can see we have the window, and that's just a stock image again, with the curtains. So now we've just added a window to the camera, which wasn't really that hard at all. Okay, now I found a stock image of a chimney, and I just pasted it on the shutter button over here. It seemed to fit well there. And then there are more maple trees. The reason these are added later than the others is because if you notice, they sit in front of the camera, and the first ones we added sat behind the camera. So that may not actually be the order that I added them. That's just where they sit in the stack. I think this is another tree. Oh, a little bush. Here's another bush. And there's another bush. That, I think, is a copy of that bush. Here's another bush. Gee, that's probably a copy of the previous one. All right, another red maple tree. There we go. And since it's a home, I thought it needed a dog. So I had a picture of a pug that I put down there. And then I got a Weimaraner. I just love that picture of him. And he has a little shadow added with a drop shadow. The pug didn't really need one because he's standing in the shadows of the tree. So that's why he doesn't have one. Then I added a bike, which also has a drop shadow on it, which you can see if you look closely down here. Now I added a great horned owl sitting on top of the house. Gives it kind of a northwest feel, but notice he stands out a little bit too much. So we kind of use levels here. Whoops. There we go. We use levels and we kind of, let's do an A and B. We bring him down just a little bit. Then we're going to add a texture layer over the top, which you can see that has major changes it quite a bit. So we've put a texture on top. This is what we put on top, which is, I believe, the same texture that was on the bottom. And if we notice, this is in a multiply blend mode. So that's why we're seeing everything through it. It just kind of darkens it up a little bit and gives it a little more of that canvas texture on top of everything and starts to make everything kind of blend in together. Okay. I added chimney smoke. This is actually just a picture I took of incense smoke that I added up there. And notice its opacity is 67%, which is why you can kind of see through it nicely. It's also using a lighter color blend mode. You can see if we change the blend modes, they do different things. And I thought the lighter color kind of blended in nicely. Next, we have a hue saturation layer just to kind of, we're trying to take a little bit more saturation out and then brighten it up just a little bit. When we put this layer right here with the canvas back on top of it, that did darken it up a bit, as we noticed. Now we're going to look at our curves adjustment layer. We're adding that, and we're basically, the high mid-tones, we're just ramping up a little bit. So that, as you can see, makes it a little bit brighter. Now what I did was what I call the move, which is Shift Option Command plus E. And what that does is takes everything underneath it and it puts it as a single layer. And then I like to apply my effects to that. So basically here we just applied camera raw. Now, one of the mistakes that I made here, and I did this a while back, but I should have made this a smart object and applied the camera raw filter, which is right here, to the smart object. That way I can go in and look in and see exactly what I did, and I could show you, and I could change it if I ever wanted to. But unfortunately, I did not do that. So unfortunately, we won't be able to see that. And here's the last layer. This is the signature layer, which is right down here. And basically, I've got a brush. And it's not my signature, actually, because I can't write that neatly. But as you can see, and we can make it bigger or smaller. And if we do 100%, I always click it twice, and there we go. And that was silly because I put it on the camera raw. It should at least be on the signature. There. And that's all there is to it. This is a fairly simple one. As we go along, I'm going to get into some more complex ones. Also some that where I had started using smart objects. But I think this will do it for this one. This one, again, is called Home Sweet Home. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy what you're seeing. And I will see you all next time. Have a good one.